Hi, my name's Kristen. Thank you for joining us today as we walk you through the steps to create this beautiful platinum tree for your home. We appreciate your purchase and we hope that we're able to equip you today to create a home for the holidays that your memories can be set around each and every year. With that said, I'm going to teach you today our 4-step decorating process. The 4 steps include the tree topper, followed by the ribbon, the florals and sprays, and last but not least, the ornaments. So come along, let's get started. Step 1 of our 4-step process is going to be to create a beautiful tree topper. So I have 4 stems that I've chosen. These are going to be the same 4 stems that you'll see later on in the cluster. And they consist of this beautiful platinum leaf. When you're choosing pieces for your topper, you want to look for pieces with height, and you also want to look for different textures. So I've also chosen this gorgeous berry that will lay on top, and then kind of at the base of the topper, we're going to include some beautiful florals as well. So for this 9-foot tree, I'm going to use 3 groupings of this, and like I said, this is going to be the same floral cluster that we'll use later on. For a smaller tree, like a 6.5 or 7.5, you're going to do 2 of these groupings, or you're going to do 5 for a 12-foot tree. Okay, so I'm going to start with my tallest stem, and I'm going to run it straight down along the pole. Okay, and I can use some of the greenery branches to kind of secure that in place, and then pull some of the leaves out. And then I'll come in with my berry, and same thing, I always want to run straight down the pole. And I will repeat this process on each side. The second step of my 4-step process is going to be the ribbon. And I think ribbon adds so much to any Christmas tree. Today I've chosen 3 styles. The first one I have is this beautiful metallic paisley, which is going to go great with this platinum design. And I'm going to be layering it over this gorgeous open weave, which just creates a great texture in the tree. And then I have one more style that I'm going to save until the end, and I'm going to add this in as an accent ribbon. Today I'm decorating a 9-foot tree. I'm going to be using 3 rolls of each in the body. For a smaller tree, say 7.5, I would use 2. Now if your tree is really full and you decorate the full view, then I would maybe be on the conservative side and grab 1 more roll. But 3 is great for this one. On a 12-foot tree, I would go ahead and use 5 rolls, 5 to 6. So I'm going to start by layering these 2. I'm going to pinch them together, creating a tail. So my tail is going to be about 8 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a simple 2-loop bow right here at the base of the topper. And if you haven't done bows before, they do take a little bit of practice, but they're pretty simple, and we do have some great videos to help you learn how to do bows. But I'm going to leave a loop, and then you are going to come in and you're going to twist the ribbon. And basically what that does, it brings the pretty side of the ribbon back to the front. And then I'm going to create 1 more loop, making sure they're the same size. And then again, I'm going to twist to get that front side forward. And then we're going to come in at the base, and we're going to secure it with a branch. And then you can open your bow up, fluff the loops. I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut that tail at a diagonal. Just a nice little decorative touch. And then I'm going to immediately come in with a larger loop. So what we're going to be doing with the ribbon is we're going to be making series of 2 larger loops. Now sometimes you might see me add in a small decorative detail or maybe even a bow at the end of the 2-loop run, but every run will have at least 2 larger loops. So I've got it pinched. See, I've got about probably, I'd say about 24 inches. I'm going to use the branch to tie it around. That'll hold it in place. And I'm going to refrain from making this too tight. We don't want it to look stretched, but rather we want open, loose loops. Okay, now instead of starting my next loop directly underneath it, I'm going to pull it to the side and create another loop. And cutting with the tail, leaving a tail and cutting. Since my first series of loops is kind of on this side of the tree, I'm actually going to come in with my next series of 2 loops. I'm going to offset it a little bit. So I'm going to start in about the middle of that area, and then I'm going to come down this way. I'm going to add in that smaller decorative loop here. And as you can see, this one includes 2 loops, and then I'm actually ending with a little 2-loop bow. So all of my different runs are kind of organic, and they're different too. So some just have 2 loops, some have 2 loops and a loop in the middle, or like this one, which has 2 big loops and a small bow. Just to recap, we did step 1, which was our tree topper. Going into step 2, which is our ribbon. Step 3 is our floral and spray layer. And so I'm going to tell you about a technique we use a lot in the store. It's called floral clustering. And basically what that is, it's using a combination of flowers and sprays grouped together to take up big areas of your tree. So to do that, I'm going to be using the same 4 stems that we used in our topper, 2 sprays and 2 flowers. And we are going to start with the sprays. We're going to lay them on top of each other, and then we're just going to marry them a little bit. So bring some forward, some back, basically so it looks continuous. And then we're going to come in with our 2 flowers. We want to angle the head up a little bit and to the side a little bit. Like that, so one kind of in this location and one off to the other side. Then holding all the stems together, we're going to take one and we're going to wrap it around all of them. Okay, and then you can just kind of pull it back out to get the placement you want. Now, because these stems are so long and I don't want them to pop out the other side of the tree, I'm actually going to bend that in half. And then we're going to insert these as one big piece all throughout the tree. So on this 9-foot tree, I'm using 9 sprays in the body of the tree. Kind of 1 per foot is a good rule of thumb. So if you have a 7.5-foot tree, use 7 throughout the body of your tree. And then when you get into a 12-foot, I know your base gets quite a bit bigger, so I would say, anywhere from 12 to 18 stems. Now, of course, if you have a very full tree, always go on the higher end. And possibly even add more. Now, in addition to the floral clusters that I'm going to do on this layer, I'm actually going to include a larger single stem. So these I'm just going to place by themselves. And then I have 3 sprays. So this gorgeous iced gold berry, this kind of silver with the platinum glitter berry, and then this one that pulls them both together. I love this piece because of the texture it adds into the tree. So all of these are going to be placed individually after I do my clusters. When I place the cluster, I'm basically running this stem along the branch and then using the greenery branches to wrap around and hold it in place. And we are going to zigzag through the tree, so if my first one is over here, my second one's going to be more in this area, going down in a diagonal pattern. So as you can see, all of my floral clusters are placed. They're just great ways to fill in big chunks of your tree and bring the whole design together. So now I'm going to come in with this larger floral. I just love this. It's a little darker to bring in some depth. And again, I'm kind of alternating in the opposite direction now. So since I have a cluster here, my first stem will go in there, and again, kind of zigzagging throughout the tree. Sprays are a great way to layer your tree over time, simply because you can start small with one style or two styles, and then the following year, if you stick to the same theme, you could pick out another style and then maybe add, a dozen of that to really just bring your tree to life over time. But on this 9-foot tree, this is kind of a mid-size 9. I'm using about 9 of each of these, but you could definitely do dozens as well. One other thing I'm doing too, because I'm not sure if you can see it real well, but I am sliding the stem along the greenery, and then I'm using the branches, just twisting it around to hold it in place, and then actually pull these out just to create that texture. I'm just going to fluff them out, pulling the branches out to give it great dimension, and then I'll place them in that same diagonal formation. Okay, the fourth step of our 4-step process is adding the ornaments. And one thing that I include in pretty much every tree design that I do is shatterproof balls. They're just great fillers. These go tucked, deeper into the tree to conceal any holes that are still left and to create that depth. And then I also like to include a few other textures as well. So I have about 4 styles of balls that are going to go onto this tree. Along with a few other specialty ones that I will do closer to the outside of the branches. So I'm going to go ahead and place the shatterproof balls now. I actually do not use the ornament hangers on these because they're so big. I can actually just kind of stuff them into the tree, and they're going pretty far deep into the branches. All right, all of the balls are placed on my tree. I have a lot of depth going on the inside, and now I'm gonna come in with a few different shapes, the more specialized ornaments, and I'm gonna hang them on the outsides of the branches to put the finishing details on the tree. And same thing, rather than letting them hang long, I'm gonna wrap it around the branch to maintain that control. Okay, well, those are our 4 steps. And as you remember, during the ribbon layer, we held on to one roll of ribbon that was going to be an accent ribbon for the end. And the reason I hold on to this until the end is I like to see my fully loaded tree look for anywhere that there's holes or spaces, and then I'm going to fill in with this ribbon. And for this step, I do one of 3 things. You can do a simple tail. I call these bow ties actually, where you leave about 8 inches on each side. You can do that 1 loop bow. So you start with the tail again, do a loop, a twist, and then you cut. Or we can add 1 more loop to make a 2-loop bow, okay? So any one of those 3 things, just kind of depending on the space and how big it is. So I'll start actually with this little 2-loop bow. And I'm gonna just come in here, since I still see a little hole there, twist it in. Now I'm gonna cut that little fishtail decorative detail, so I'm folding it in half and cutting at an angle. and do the same for this tail as well. And now I'm just gonna go around the tree. I'm gonna look for anywhere with holes and do one of those 3 accents. All right, well that concludes our beautiful platinum tree bundle. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you found this helpful. We also love to see your decor, so it would mean the world to us if you went on to Instagram and you used hashtag DW Christmas to show us your end results. Merry Christmas.